Today we're going from 0 to 100 in SampleVerse. Let's go. Hi, Matthew Presley here with another episode of Stagelight 0 to 100. Today we're going to be covering my favorite instrument in Stagelight, SampleVerse. We're going to cover things like playing on the note grid, sampling your own sounds from scratch, to building out an entire preset. We have a lot to cover. Let's go. Okay, first things first, I'm going to show you how to add SampleVerse. Where is it? Hit the Add Track button. Go ahead and hit Add Instrument Track. Under Stagelight plugins, SampleVerse is going to be right here at the bottom. To add it, you can just touch this plus button or drag it and drop it like so. The first thing you see when you pull up SampleVerse is our play view. At the top of the play view, just like our other instruments, you can pick and browse some presets. You've got a quick volume control, etc. And as you can see, it's a bunch of notes that you can play. The notes are displayed chromatically, but if you turn on key lock and set a mode, they'll play in whatever key you set. Playing by touching, and you can also play with gestures. For example, let me turn off key lock here real quick. For example, if I play two notes, I can slide one note left or right to change the pitch. You can also slide up and down and adjust things like timbre, in this case, the filter of the preset. On the right-hand side of the play grid, you have a couple of quick options. You can turn on the arpeggiator or off. You can also change the size of the grid. You can have a grid set it to be 4x4, 5x5, or 5x7. Figure out what you like best, set it, and there you go. We also have a transpose. As you can see right now, we're starting on C4. Maybe I want to play a bass sound. I can take it down to C2 or C3. Like so. Now, if playing a grid is not your thing, SampleVerse works perfectly with the on-screen keys as well. Everything from playing to MPE gestures of sliding up and down. Like so. Now, the next thing I want to jump into is how to sample. I mean, I'm playing a synth sound right now, which we'll get into that, but let's get into my next favorite view, the sample view. And here's the sample view. Very simple. Now, if you look at the upper left, you see input channel. If you have like an audio device hooked up, maybe it has multiple, 4 or 8 mics in, you can pick your input you want to sample from. We're just going to sample from the iPad's mic, and as you see, my voice is causing the input meters to go up. Now, a couple of options down here. If you go down here, we have input pitch detection. This is good. Maybe you're trying to sample a violin or a harmonica or your voice. You can kind of see where you're coming on pitch. Or off pitch, in my case. We have a pitch tuner button here. This will auto-tune the vocals or whatever sound you're recording on input. And then the record button will capture. Now, with recording samples, you can do a couple of things. You can record a single thing, like this. Hi. And you've recorded one sample. But one unique thing about SampleVerse is we automatically detect if you're trying to record one or more things. Now that I've recorded a simple hi, you can see that I can delete it here or save it. Let's delete it and let's do a multi-sample of my guitar. All right, now that I've got my guitar, we're going to record a few notes. To start recording, you're just going to hit the record button. I'm going to hit the record button, and I'm going to play 4 different notes off this guitar. When you record, it automatically detects when there's silence. It's detecting the pitch because I have pitch turned on, and it recorded all 4 samples and named the notes that they detected on it. You have a preview button, so you can play and sample each one to hear it. And on the waveform display up here, you can also edit it. So if I want to shorten the sample, I can drag left or right and crop off the end or the beginning. And I've got a few other options as well. I can play any of the samples in reverse. So you can do one reverse, one forward if you want. However you want to build it, that's cool. You can also enable looping. So when I enable looping, I'm going to get loop points. And what that allows me to do is set a start and a finish. And when I play something, it's just going to loop in that tone over and over. We do a little magic underneath to automatically crossfade to try to make it as smooth as possible. But you'll definitely want to dial in where you want it on the waveform. On the right here, you have pitch and auto pitch. If you were recording something that wasn't tonal and you didn't want it to be in key, you could turn that off and any pitch correction will be removed. Last but not least, you have a trash can button here, which essentially deletes whatever sample you're working on out of the patch. That's the wave editor. In addition to that, you have an envelope, which you can do some simple attack and release. Let me pull this up so I can play it and show it to you. If you want the release to stay on longer, you can do things like that. Now, last but not least, I've recorded this sample and I want to save it. I want this to be part of my sample bank library. The arrow button here that looks like a down arrow with a dash below is the save bank. If you want to save this, I hit the save button and I'm just going to call this acoustic GTR. It's saved. In addition to saving, maybe you want to go ahead and send this to our edit panel to do some further editing and mixing, etc. If I jump to the edit panel like so, it's going to ask, do I want to add the recorded samples to this preset? I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Now the edit page consists of a lot of modules and it's modular, meaning you can add modules and you can take modules away. Starting from the top, we've got one module that's always present, and that is the arpeggiator. As you can see, I have one LFO here. However, if you hit the plus button on the lower left-hand corner, you get the ability to add additional modules. I can add up to 3 LFOs. I can add up to 3 oscillators to a preset, and up to 3 sample banks. You also have quick options to jump back to record samples. You can import audio files into a sample bank. And last but not least, you can import SFZ files as well. Now let's go ahead and jump straight into the modules. We're going to dive right into the arpeggiator. Let's get into the ARP. The ARP is one module that's always present in every preset, and it's enabled by a simple on-off switch. On the front of the edit panel, you're going to have power switches for all your modules and some simple controls. The ARP gives one for speed and octave. Let's turn it on and let's take a listen. I'm going to turn it on and just hold a note. You can see if I turn up an octave, it goes up or down. Same thing with speed. Let's leave that fast. Now, everything I'm showing you right now thus far, it comes with the free version of Stagelight. When I hit the advanced button here, this is going to require a platform unlock to get to all these features. When you hit the expand button, you're going to see what the ARP grid looks like. This works just like our step sequencer. In addition to speed and octave, you have a 5-note grid. Think of each note as its own individual arpeggiator. So for example, if I'm going to hold one note down, it's going to play that pattern no matter where I play it. It's going to be beat synced, all that good stuff. Below that, you have some controls. You've got a length, so you can make a pattern longer or shorter, up to 16 beats. You can change the grid size. Right now I have a 1/4 note grid size, and it looks like I'm playing half notes in it. But you can change that. I can go to 16ths or 1/8 notes, for example. Snapping controls work just like they do in our main sequencer. If you turn snapping off, this is going to allow you to edit and move notes in between the grid lines. And then last but not least, we have tools for editing velocity and semitone of a note. Let me show you once again how that works. I've got one pattern filled out. Let's say I want to add another pattern on row 2. Let's say I'm just going to do like that. Playing one note, I'm only going to hear the same pattern. playing the second note, it's going to trigger the notes programmed here. And allows you to modulate freely. This means you can take any arpeggiator that has multiple patterns and you can make them, they're all unique based on the way that you play them, when your fingers move notes, etc. It's really powerful, really cool. So you saw me add notes. To add, you just tap to turn one on or off. You can also stretch it out or adjust the velocity. And if you change the semitone tool, you can change it by semitone. So right now this is going down -7. Let's make this second note go down -7 as well. Pretty cool. And once you're done making an arp, you can save it. You just go to the menu here, hit Save Arpeggiation, type in a name, it's cool. If you're not into that, you can open up your own. Stagelight ships with tons of them, and you can just add and recall just like so. I'll go ahead and erase this and just add my own. But you're going to have lots of patterns for lots of different styles, and as you can see, you have tons of power to make your own. And we're going to stop episode 6 right here. SampleVerse is so huge, we're going to have to divide this up into 2 episodes. I hope what I've shown you today has been helpful. If so, hit that like button. And if you want to know when episode 7 drops to cover the rest of everything in SampleVerse, hit that subscribe button too. Thank you guys all for watching. We'll see you next week. Later.